why don't we get started? This is a third in the series for those that have been to either some or all of them, the ones in the past. And today I thought we would spend a little time talking about maybe the past, some of the things, the displays that we have on the table, the present, which is some of the things that are going on in and around the town, and the future, and what lies ahead for this great town. But more importantly, what is it that you might think we need to be taking a look at as we move forward over the next 10, 20, maybe 30 years? And all of us may not be here during that time, either local government, residents, but we want to make sure that we're leaving Penfield in a better or richer place as we move forward. So today I want to talk a little bit about the past, a little bit about the present, and most importantly, what does Penfield look like as we move forward? So this is intended to be a fireside chat. As you can see, I've got my fire behind me. I've got my Santa Claus chair that was so graciously given to me by Pam.
And they have a book now because he kept a diary.
Calvin Owen book.
Yeah, it's a most interesting article.
Here it is.
And the way he expresses himself, he had definite opinions.
He was not shy. He was not shy. Calvin Owen was not shy. There's a lot of different excerpts, and I have not, this is the first time I've had the opportunity to touch the book when I had to sign my life away at the town clerk's office just before I came over here, that I'll bring it back in one piece. But there is the softbound. This is the softbound. But yes, he was a carpenter and a joiner by trade, and he was not a shy person by way of comments. And you'll see a number of his comments here, and it didn't make any difference who he was speaking to at the time. If it was on his mind, it was out his mouth, and that's what I think. Some of the there you go. So we might be writing about you here in another 150 years. So this is available, and it'll be for sale at the town clerk's office. I can hardly wait to take a look at it and read some more of Calvin Owen's quips about Penfield and about businesses and his neighbors and things like that. So
in this morning's paper.
Yeah, yes. I know Kathy Knauer, our town historian, has been working on this very hard. Cynthia Hauk and Ann Davis is the other person that has been working very hard to get this published. I think it's been several years, maybe 3 or 4 years they've been trying to get this published. So they finally did it. Books are hot off the press.
You want to know what I'd like to see?
Absolutely.
I would like to see a nice waterfront restaurant that's open for lunch, where I can take my friends when they come and visit from New York. Penfield has a lot of good restaurants, and I've been to a lot of them. But there's no real attraction. I end up taking my friends to Aladdin's on the canal.
On the canal. Mm-hmm.
We're sitting there right on the Erie Canal, and it's like really great. But I mean, we've got Irondequoit Bay access. That's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see some cute shops. We're hoping that's going to happen in Baytown, but
it's so what she's referring to is that along, if you recall, when we talked about LaSalle's Landing on Empire Boulevard, and LaSalle's Landing really starts up at the Plank and Empire, and kind of goes down into that dip and up towards the Irondequoit side. We tend to look at it a little broader, all the way back to Bay and Creek down in that area, just because of some redevelopment. But certainly on the waterfront, we've got currently a townhome project for rent right next to Basil's. And as part of that development, they're looking to try and attract some other businesses, in that area. At one time, there was a beautiful waterfront restaurant called Captain Jack's, and they've since put their property up for sale. Either they couldn't wait that long, or their investors went away. But that's an area that we're really looking to revitalize. If you recall some of the conversation before, there was a lot of old dumping ground there. That was the old Rochester dump. They brought a lot of ash out there, and so we're in the process of trying to clean that whole area up and revitalize that. And I think that's an excellent point. Today you have Basil's. For anyone that has been to Basil's, and that's a nice restaurant, you know. But I think what Christina is saying is that having a couple of more nice type of restaurants in that, looking at, and they're not open for lunch. That's a good point.
To make a left-hand turn coming out of Basil's.
Yes.
Is
iffy, isn't it?
problematic for me. I avoid Basil's just mainly if I'm driving. I mean, if somebody else is driving, fine, but
You'll do it.
I'm coming out of Basil's.
So as part of that discussion, the state is looking at redoing that portion of Empire Boulevard to have some acceleration and deceleration lanes, and again, part of the safety component to take a look at that. And so I think the state recognizes that that has been long a problem, and here's an opportunity that they might be able to address that in some way to make that a little bit safer from an accident standpoint. And that really is, because that is a corridor, again, between, Penfield ends up being surrounded by a number of communities that do a lot of traversing east, west, north, south, and Empire Boulevard and Atlantic Avenue 441 and 5 Mile Line and 250 and to a certain degree Creek Street really end up being some major roads exactly that we have that were developed, and so we have to deal with and address as best we can and try to keep them as safe.
To have your major businesses there and not have some way to
accelerate or decelerate or accelerate. Yes. Right.
Makes it tough on the businesses.
Yes.
I have another concern. It's not so much Penfield future as it is Penfield present.
Okay.
But are you aware of that woman who hosts a show on XXI who has taken a couple of pot shots at Penfield, and it really bothered me? This was about a year ago.
Okay. All right.
I think the program is called Citywise, and she always has kids from the inner city schools.
Okay.
And the one that really bothered me was when she was talking to all these children. And this is, of course, we're in a time where racial tension in this country is probably worse than it has been in a long.
That's a good point.
And she'd ask these children a question like, well, how do people react to you when they tell you where you're from as opposed to someplace like Penfield? And I was horrified when I heard this, and what kind of impression are these children going to have of Penfield? Like we're a racist enclave or something? I mean, and she's done this a couple of times. I haven't heard it recently, but I don't watch her all the time because she annoys me. But I think it's something that you should at least be aware of.
I had not heard that, but that is something that is bothersome. I am meeting with the editorial board of the Rochester Gannett papers, and Jim Lawrence and a number of the folks from the editorial board are hosting a program about listening, and specifically geared toward, as I understand his letter, more geared towards this issue of haves and have-nots, and how he is spinning it is that the haves are the suburban communities, and the have-nots is the city. And so there are a number of us that are getting together from the business community, from local governments, and we're going to sit down and have a little bit of a discussion around this whole issue. And the concern that I personally have is that the editorial board is trying to make this an issue and fuel a fire. That's my concern. And I want to make sure that we're going and talking about the right things and the right reasons for those things. And then what are some of the possible solutions versus the suburban towns are the haves, and you need to give everything to the city. We're the have-nots, and we need to take what you have. So that bothered me a little bit, and I let Mr. Lawrence know that. He came to the Supervisors Association. That just bothered me that he's taking that approach. So I'll keep you posted in my column in some short quips about that. Not sure where this is going to go and how it's going to ultimately end up, but it bothered me to the point that I didn't want to miss the meeting, because I just think we're fueling a fire that we should be looking to extinguish rather than fuel that fire. So yeah, but good point.
There was a time when the schools, now I don't know if they still do it, they would have some inner city children coming bussed out to the Penfield schools.
Yes.
They used to.
Mm-hmm. I know, I have seen, I don't know what percentage that they do that today. I know that a bus stops in the Four Corners, a city RTS bus stops in the Four Corners in the morning, and a group of children will get off and then walk up to the high school. So I don't know, it doesn't seem to be as many today as it was, if I turn the hands of time back. Our oldest daughter graduated in 1998, and our youngest graduated in 2002. During that time, there seemed to be more, but there are still some that do come bust in and attend the high school. So, yeah. Yes?
I know at your first meeting that you had here, you mentioned this, but I don't remember what the solution was.
Mm-hmm.
You talked about that pile of rubble across from Panorama Plaza.
Yes, it was funny. Today, as a side note, I was telling Mr. Freitas, Dick Freitas, that our youngest granddaughter turned 5 today, and so the long-standing tradition that we have is when our girls are growing up and now our granddaughters, I take them out for breakfast before they go to school. And so our youngest granddaughter, who's just turned 5, goes to kindercare because she'll start kindergarten next year. And she said to me this morning, she said, "Pa, when are they going to fix that?" As I was pulling into kindergarten, because it goes right by between ESL, the ESL ATM, and that pile of rubble. That was an old dry cleaners, for those that remember. I think it was Clean Town sticks in my mind. And they started to tear it down, and they discovered they had more contamination from the dry cleaning fluid than what they had originally thought. And some of it actually migrated off that site into the groundwater and started to make its way over to the creek, obviously being the lowest spot. So the current property owner has been working with the DEC, and they for a period of time, there was a big pile of dirt that they had covered with plastic for a number of years, and then that was able to disappear because it aired out properly, and through the testing they were able to get rid of it. But they still have some contamination in the block and in the foundation. So they have put a hold on everything until they have got that properly mitigated. And about every 6 months, Jim Costello, who's on our business development services, reaches out to the owner, reaches out to DEC to find out where we are. And so we're still, unfortunately, we're still a ways away. The last I heard, I think it was in 2014. So we're going to have to put up with it for at least another 12 months plus or minus. So, but that has been an eyesore. And when you have a 5-year-old who says, "Pa, when are they going to clean up that mess?" Then, to a 5-year-old, they look at the world so much different anyways. But when a 5-year-old says to you, "When are they going to clean up that mess?" then you know it's been too long. So we'll continue to push on our friends in DEC and to try to get that cleaned up. But it is an absolute eyesore. I get 2 or 3 calls since I've been in office about 3.5 years. I get about 2 or 3 calls a month, different people that will either send me an email or make a phone call, or if they're stopping in to pay their taxes, they say, when is that going to get cleaned up? When is something going to happen there? So, and I think you live over in that area, so you see it every day, multiple times a day. So yeah. So we had some of the things of the past here. Before we got started, I think a couple of folks were talking about what some of these might be. So what is this one right here on the end of the table? So it looks a little bit like a wind chime. Candle maker. That's right. That's these are some of the displays that on Monday, a week ago yesterday, I'll do with the second grade class because we always have a little bit of fun with that. I think everyone knew that this was a tennis racket or maybe a pizza turner or anything, but it's the rug beater. That's right. And so you tell the kids before they go to school, or after they got home, they'd have to take the rug out, put it on the line, and this is how they would clean it, because they didn't have, the Oryx and the Hoovers and all the other ones that are out there.
That looks like an ice skate.
And then we talk about this one, right? And so the thing that always gets the kids is this little spike right here, and they'll say, well, where does that go? And that goes right into your heel, so that it keeps your heel, and then there are straps, and then this is what they would use for the ice skate, skate on the creek or skate on the pond. But the kids always say, well, where does that spike go? It goes right in your heel. It goes right in your heel. So, and then this, yes. So this is, and so the question always is from the kids, that how come you have all of these holes in here? Well, because you get the light out. And then they'll say, well, if you want to get the light out, why don't you take all these things off? And of course, the wind blows and it blows the candle out. So there were a lot of people that were very creative with their designs as to how, so it was unique, but to give the light. And you talk to the kids about how'd you like to do your homework with candlelight. Of course, you get a few kids that say, I don't even like to do my homework. But, to try it, doing your homework. And I try to encourage them to work with their mom or dad and to turn the lights out in the kitchen after it gets dark. Turn the lights out and have one candle and try to do your homework. Try to do your reading or try to do your homework. So that, we always have a little bit of fun. I've got a couple of other props that I use with the kids that, in many cases, they have no idea. And the one that I really enjoy is and you'll say, what is that? Well, that's some kind of vase that you can put flowers in. Well, that's certainly you could do that. And then you talk about, delivering the milk. And have you ever seen, some of those metal boxes outside the front porch? And I know that as I was growing up in the Adirondacks, we had a box, and certain times, a couple times during the course of the week, you would get it, and had the cardboard tab. And my mother would always try to get to the milk first. To pour that top off in a separate dish for the cream in the coffee and cream in the tea. And my grandmother always had cream in her tea and things. And so the kids just don't. They say, really, really. Pittsburgh Farm Dairy. Yes. This is the Welkley and Son Dairy right up on Penfield Road. So yeah. Oh, okay. I've only seen them in the clear. I'd never seen them in the colored bottles. Okay. Yeah, well, that does.
Is that a full quart?
I'm sorry?
Would that be a full quart? Is that 32 ounces? It looks a little small.
It doesn't say. We would have to actually. Well, it says 1 quart liquid. It does right up here. 1 quart liquid. So that's you know, and then of course it does look small, and then of course, you know, this one here, and they have seen the shape, but not necessarily the fact that it was glass, but they've seen the shape on some of the larger juice boxes and containers that are plastic today, and they'll see those, and then.
Where did you get them now?
And I like to tell, excuse me, I like to tell the story that my grandmother would take this, and she would take the cream, the heavy cream, and add a little sugar, mix that up with this, and of course, none of these second graders have seen this. You know, they'll take a look at it, and they'll be able to tell you what it is more because of the end, and but the fact that someone had to actually operate it versus plugging it in the wall. So we have a little bit of fun. We have a little bit of fun with the kids, and it's entertaining and enjoyable. And some of their comments are priceless. Just, you know, some of the comments are priceless as to what they think, you know, these are. This right here, I've heard birdcage. So they think it's and I'll say, wow, that's some pretty small birds, you know, to fit in there, to get themselves in there. And so wind chimes is another thing that's pretty common because you know, you see some of the wind chimes, but yeah, so we have a little bit of fun. But from a senior standpoint, are there any things that we should be looking at a little bit differently as we shake our crystal ball? What should we be thinking about or planning for? Transportation. I hear that. I've been hearing that a lot more lately. Some folks like yourself that may have lived in the city and didn't have a need for a car, and then some seniors that maybe can't drive anymore or shouldn't be driving, right? And transportation, in general?
Well, I think for people who can't drive to get to
Doctors,
yeah,
Tops and Wegmans.
yeah, groceries.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We have tried a couple of times, and I said recently to Chris Bilo that we have to figure out how to make this work, because we've tried it a couple of times and we had low ridership, and so we've got to figure out how we do that to make it.
What are you talking about?
Transportation. Bus. Yeah, it could be buses. It could be a van. You know, excuse me, something like that. You know, where you've got someone that doesn't drive or can't drive, and needing to get to, you know, a program here at the community center, or to a doctor's appointment, or to Wegmans or Tops. You know, something like that.
They have it.
Or walk.
Well,
No, they have it. We have
I
it.
grew up in Batavia.
If you came there from there today, you had a long walk to get here this morning.
We got the right.
Yeah, that's pretty open up. All right, so transportation, that's not a new item. That's been pretty consistent, but it seems to be rising in interest and popularity. What else?
The other towns do for that.
Well, recently I started having a conversation with the Fairport Baptist Home. In the Fairport Baptist Home, what I'm learning is that they started a program, SOFI. And part of that program is funded by a couple of different sources. One, they have, which I didn't realize, but there is a shop in the main street of Fairport that has tools, older tools, collectibles, slightly used tools, and what have you. And it's a wonderful place. I just discovered it recently, within the last year. And you can go over there, and if you need something, a one-of-a-kind, or if you're a collector of tools and things, it's a great place to go. All that, it's staffed by volunteers. all of the money that is collected goes into the SOFI program, and part of the SOFI program is looking to assist and support seniors in different ways. So it could be transportation, and they do have some buses that they have available. It could be some minor repairs and maintenance to residents' homes. It could be an individual picking up and transporting someone to a doctor's appointment, or helping them shop, something like that. And the program has really grown, and it's been in existence for over 20 years, which was another. I mean, I've been around for 38 plus years in this community, and until about a month ago, I learned about the SOFI program when I was speaking with the Fairport Baptist Home. So they serve Perrington and Fairport. We're trying to identify an opportunity to broaden that out into Penfield, and how can we do that? But all of their volunteers, they go through a screening process to make sure that you're getting the right people into the program. And these volunteers are from a wide variety of backgrounds. So they are carpenters and plumbers and roofers and things like that, so that they can help coach and even do some work themselves. And the program is sustained by the volunteers and volunteer dollars and money they collect from different donations. So we're trying to get a little bit more involved with that, and try to expand that. When I was in the Lions Club, I spent about 26 years in the Lions Club before the Penfield Lions Club folded 4 or 5 years ago. And the problem that we had is that we went from a group of 60 down to a group of 6 because we couldn't get new members. There weren't the people that wanted to get involved in a service club because their lives were so busy. A lot of the older people passed away, so it really got down to a very small group of people. But we used to do a lot of programs. We would build ramps for seniors that may have had some surgery and or needed a wheelchair and couldn't get into their home, so we would build ramps. We would go over and rake lawns in the fall. We would do a lot of programs like that. And then the money we raised, we actually purchased in the early days. We purchased a couple of ambulances for the Penfield ambulance. So that was kind of our mission, was to really be community oriented. And again, as people got older and we lost a lot of members, that went away. This SOFI program, as I understand it, as folks come in, maybe some retired people that physically they can do some things, and then they might migrate from maybe the less physical, maybe into driving, and then from there supporting people preparing income tax and filling out the forms to get reimbursed for medical. And so they've got just a wide variety of professionals. So I'm hoping that we can get a partnership together to help grow and expand that.
Are the churches involved in this?
They are. They are. Yes, a number of the churches from the Fairport area are in fact involved, which is another plus. So I'll stay as long as anyone wants, but if I know there are a lot of sometimes transportation needs and what have you, and I understand that. If you want one of my cards, I'll certainly be more than happy to give you one of my cards.